Alright, so I had a question I just noticed on my channel about how we're able to keep our pilgrim geese quiet. And I think it's probably worth noting that that's maybe a bit of a stretch to say that I'm keeping them quiet. Here they are. Now, if you've seen other people's videos, particularly like pet goose George, he's a white Chinese, and they're noted for being rather loud geese. They're also very good weeders, which makes them kind of a foraging choice. Tom and Scarlet are pilgrim geese, as you may know. Yes, you are. And they're noted for being more friendly, quieter, and while still being really good at foraging. And I've actually found this to be very true. They do eat some corn. I make sure everybody gets a little bit extra food. That way nobody's getting stressed out and trying to try new foods, which keeps my birds all from trying poisonous plants that we do happen to have around here, and there's very little I can do about it a lot of times. So I do feed them a little bit. Tom and Scarlet are in goose mating season. Yes, you guys are, although I don't think I've seen any eggs. I actually locked them up in our kind of like one of our closed-in pens where it's pretty good size, but there's not much in there for them to eat. And so I was providing them food and just seeing if Scarlet was going to lay an egg, and she did not, and neither did the muscovies. We had a winter storm and pretty much everybody stopped laying. But they're not as friendly right now because of the season, but they're a pretty friendly goose as far as geese go. And I don't really do a lot to keep them quiet. And again, to kind of circle back, they're quiet for geese, which is like saying, well, it's a very quiet plane taking off. Certainly some are louder than others, but I don't think anybody would say, well, if you have pilgrim geese, you can probably keep them in a small yard in the city because they're quiet. No, I probably would not do that, especially in like a kind of a high density housing development like I actually came from. I had a quarter of an acre, and probably half of it was front yard or more that I couldn't have a fence around. One of the reasons we're out here now. But as you can see, I can get really close to them, and they don't get alarmed, squeak, honk, and get really excited. They are pair bonded to each other. If they get separated, they will get very, very, very loud. Tom will oftentimes run off, and Scarlet will be eating or not paying attention, and if that happens, she will honk until she finds him or hears him. But this is about as loud as they are during the day. Now, when I first come outside and they first see me for the day, they do 3 or 4 very loud honks, and then they're quiet. If somebody starts acting up, we break up a fight by initiating quite a few honks, and then we bite and beat the offender, and that's kind of a loud thing. And then let's see, what else do you guys honk at? We honk at intruders. We're pretty good about that, but I don't have a lot of people coming to see me. I don't know if you've seen my other videos. You'll notice that we have a pretty good visual break between the road and our house, and we don't really have neighbors per se. I do have people on either side of me. One of the houses you really can't see. The other one is vacant most of the time. That's like a vacation home, and they're hardly ever there. And so I pretty much have about 15 acres where I can't see anyone. There is a few acres that I can see, but that's about the limit. And so he is totally free range. They wander around, they eat, and they stay pretty quiet, especially right now. They're being abnormally quiet right now because nobody's fighting. There is nobody that's new, not a lot's going on, so they'll be quiet. And if you buy geese, you may notice that this happens. If everybody's kind of being calm, they're not just going to honk for the fun of it. They honk to let other things know something's not right. or something's exciting happening. And that right there is as loud as it gets unless those things happen. So if you maybe you have 3 acres and you could probably have 2 geese on it. You could probably have more. It depends on your situation. If you want to feed them, you could keep them in a pretty small area. But just for standoff distance, if you had a 3-acre square and you didn't have a lot of stuff going on in your lot, and you got pilgrim geese, and you were able to keep them away from the edges of your property, they wouldn't probably be that loud. And I'm sure this all depends on your individual goose too. They do have personalities. Tom's fairly quiet as far as I know. Scarlet's even quieter. But yeah, if you go out and you look at, say, Africans or Chinese or what's another one that's very renowned for being loud? Well, those are the two that whenever I was looking, the Africans and the Chinese were very loud geese. And I almost decided to get a Chinese because they're very, very, very good foragers, even better than Tom reportedly. And the only thing that kind of stopped me was the fact that they are extremely loud, and I'm pretty happy with my choice. Tom is an excellent grazer. He does a very, very good job of keeping the grass very low. My grass is this long and going to seed, and it's doing fantastic this year. And I think I have Tom and Scarlet primarily to thank for that. They sit out there on the lawn unless they're full, which they do this if they're full, and they just kind of wander around and shop for houses. Yeah, you remove stimuli that's alarming from your goose habitat, and you can pretty much expect them to act like you're seeing in this video here. They do those little quiet honks, and that's just them communicating with the other birds, and then they move on.